Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Battle Rush seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which we have just 8 seconds to take our turn and 15 seconds to choose our cards in between rounds. That means it's all about speed, and that is exactly what today's deck is designed to do. So, let's go take a look at the deck. So in the Battle Rush event, it is all about playing your cards as quickly and efficiently as possible, because if you hesitate, you might not have enough time to play a card at all, or a deploy ability or an order ability might target the wrong unit and you might accidentally damage yourself or boost an opponent. So today's deck uses a lot of Scoia'Tael movement cards because those do a really good job of giving us additional value at the end of our turn without requiring any additional clicks. We also have hand boosting, which is a little bit riskier, but I've heard some people say that hand boosting is actually very effective in this event. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I'm curious to test it out today. So, in terms of what we have here, Saskia Commander, we do have 10 unique different categories in our starting deck, so that means that she can summon out a bronze unit from our deck when we play her. Probably want to play her in the melee row because we do have some row lock cards for the melee row. There are some other cards that still work in the melee row, but we would probably prefer to see in the range row, so it's a little bit of a, pick whichever one you want type of situation, but I think generally it's going to be best to go in the melee row there. Great Oak. Big finisher for us, especially if we have a lot of units in one row, and Saskia Commander can help set that up. Ithlinne for hand boosting. Aglais, ideal target for that hand boosting. Roach for thinning. Francis Bedlam for hand boosting. Torque, our hand boosting enabler. Dunca for more hand boosting. Knickers, also for thinning. Smuggler, and this is the bronze unit that I was referring to before, that I think it probably justifies playing Saskia Commander in the melee row so that Smuggler, if you do get it out through Saskia, gets put into the correct row where it can give you additional hand boosting. If you happen to have both Smugglers in your hand or on the board already, or you played them in a previous round, then for that reason, it may actually be preferable to play Saskia in the range row, but it might be a little bit difficult to do all that calculus in your head in the 8 seconds that you have to take your turn, so when in doubt, play Saskia in the melee row so that you can help set up the Smuggler. Dol Blathanna Sentry is the other card that does vary between melee row and range row. 90% of the time, it's going to be more valuable to us in the range row, and so this is sort of the other side of that coin, where if you have already used all of your Hawker supports, or rather Hawker Smugglers, then it might make sense to play Saskia Commander in the range row so that the Dol Blathanna Sentry ends up there where it can give us some additional support for our movement engines by giving us some boosts. And Cat Witcher is one of those cards that does the movement, and in doing so, also deals damage. Dwarven Mercenary is mostly here just as a target for Saskia to summon out, because at 7 power, that is solid value for a bronze unit. We don't really want to be playing it from hand because we have a lot of non-dwarves, and so it's going to take a fair bit of damage when we do that. Unless, if you do find yourself stuck with this in hand, then save it for ideally the very last card you play, if not at least near the end of the round to minimize that self-damage. Mahakam Defender is a card that we are willing to have in hand because it's actually a decent target for hand boosting, because if it is already boosted at the end of our turn, then it will get boosted at the end of our turn. So that, or having one of the other cards that we're going to see soon to help boost it up, namely the Dryad Matron, because if we play this, it'll move and boost an adjacent card, or rather card on the end of the row, and so if that is one of those Mahakam Defenders, then that's another way to get that boosted up. And, of course, it's more movement, and therefore does work well with our other movement engines. Dwarf Berserker, more dwarves, in this case a decent target for Saskia to summon out. Probably a card that we would prefer to have Saskia summon rather than playing it directly from hand, because it has 4 base power, which is average, but also has some additional damage. Then Oakcritters is purely here for Saskia and to reach that 10 unique category threshold for Saskia, so you definitely, under no circumstances, do you want to be playing this from your hand. We do not have Devotion, so you're not getting the extra value there. It's basically just a tiny bit of extra value on Saskia, and without it, we wouldn't meet the 10 unique category threshold, so just keep it in deck. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, the focus is on combining the automatic end-of-turn boosting and damage from Scoia'Tael's movement engines with hand boosting as well. When it comes to the hand boosting, though, bear in mind that Invigorate, our leader ability, obviously gives us additional hand boosts. However, it takes a very long time to use this, especially if you have a handful of a ton of units and you're trying to pick out exactly which unit you want to target with the Invigorate, then that can be a little bit tricky, and you might risk actually either not playing a card at all, and that's a huge, huge downside, or playing a card and getting it in the wrong row, or we don't really have so much in the way of targeted deploy abilities or things like that, but you have some potential to misplay if you start your turn with Invigorate. However, if you deliberately play your card first and then use Invigorate at the end of your turn, that way you don't risk running out of time to play whatever card you need to play on that turn, and so that is really the safest way of using Invigorate. Now, there may be times in which you kind of get forced into doing it the other way around, but for the most part, that is at least the plan, and that is the main reason why, in the past, I was skeptical when people said that they liked using hand boosting in this event, but if you make a point of doing it in that order where you play the card first and then you use Invigorate, then maybe that's still not going to get you in trouble, at least not too often. But now it's time to see just how good this deck really is, so let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and they'll go first. Okay, so we have Saskia in hand, that's great. Let's get rid of Roach, and other than that, let's get rid of the Dwarven Mercenary. We mostly want to have Saskia summon that out. And Oneiro would usually be to get Saskia, so I'm actually not 100% sure what we're going to want to get with Oneiro, since we do have Saskia. I think we will start with Saskia, though, because if we play her in the melee row, we can potentially get some hand boosting going here. If we were to have gotten our Hawker supports, that is not what we got. In fact, we might use Oneiro. Well, Saskia will eventually give us one of those. Duchess's Informant to create a Dol Blathanna Sentry. Now, we would have preferred to have had this in the range row, probably. It's a little unfortunate. Let's go Ithlinne. And boost Torque here, I think. And it gives us an even bigger Great Oak. I do want to think a bit about what we want our Oneiro to get. Yeah, it might end up being a second Hawker support. Once we get the first one out, at least. Try not to play a human yet, so that Saskia can give us that. But, Okay, let's go Dunca. Well, we don't have a Dryad out yet. Also, don't have a... Yeah. Trying not to, force Saskia, or prevent Saskia from spawning in a card that I want Saskia to summon in. I want her to spawn in a Dryad, but I also want her to spawn in a Witcher, but I also want her to spawn in a human. Okay, they are trying... Are they actually mill? Or is this just, Cantarella nonsense? Ooh, wow. Okay, well, that changes things. They did manage to destroy Saskia. And that is not easy. Now, we didn't have Aglais in hand to start things off here, so we don't have our ideal target for hand boosting. Do still have more hand boosters. And we are still in the lead here. We might even pass early. Well, we'll go Francis Bedlam. Get a little more hand boosting here. Do want to try to get some time for Dunca still to do some boosting. It just feels like with her at the end of the round, that's not a great time for that to happen. Snek is bold. Is very bold. I guess we'll go Mahakam Defender, though. Well, no. They're at 4 cards. We're at 5. We're still in the lead. If they want to win this round, they're going to need to play more cards. If they do, we're going to continue to get the hand boosting from Francis Bedlam and this Smuggler. Double Snek. Oh, hold on. This is a whole different kind of match now. Are they legitimately a Snek deck? We're about to find out. Okay, so we don't really like Oakcritters. What we're really looking for here would be Aglais. And we did not get her, unfortunately. So they did win round 1, but it cost them a bunch of cards, so we're probably looking to just play a throwaway here, which will probably be this Matron or the Dol Blathanna Sentry. Might actually prefer the Dol Blathanna Sentry, to be honest with you. I guess we did still have some movement. Either way, both pretty much worth 1 additional point per turn. Okay, still looking for Aglais here. We like the Hawker Smuggler. But no Aglais. Okay, this is probably going to have to be our finisher. But let's play one of our boosting units initially here. And then let's also use our leader Billy. Get some boosts happening. So what you want to do with Invigorate, because it takes a long time to use it, is you want to make sure that you play a unit first and then, or play whatever card you want to play, then use it. Otherwise, you run the risk of not having time to play the card you want to play where you want to play it. Okay, they'll Yenvo it. I mean, we have a card that is almost identical to it right here. So we'll deal with it. Same idea here. Play the unit and then use leader ability after that. Okay, let's see. Oh, they're using their leader ability on the Hawker Smuggler. Okay, I'm not sure we really have much else in the way of hand boosting here, besides maybe with Oneiro. So let's take a quick look at what that Oneiro is going to be. It's probably a Dwarven Mercenary, because we really, really wanted Aglais here, but we just never got her. So this gets boosted every turn, which is why I wanted to play this early, and that's going to basically hard counter Yennefer. But now I'm thinking we go for you, and we try to hit this Hawker Smuggler. Sneks are coming out soon. We don't really have a way of stopping the Sneks, unfortunately. Could destroy the Hawker Smuggler with Great Oak, or potentially destroy it with Great Oak if we really wanted to. Right now they are both on 9 power for what it's worth, but I think we'll load up on the damage. Staggering the Cat Witchers is technically going to reduce the power of the Great Oak a little bit here. So we want to have everything lined up to maximize the boost or damage on it, but I think we'll be fine. Next is probably going to be Dryad Matron to get some more boosts from this movement, which, with the Cat Witchers, should be happening every turn. And so it's gonna be actually Torque next, and we're out of hand boosting. Because the Hawker Smuggler got... Ooh, that's good treason. Words that, you know, maybe I never thought I would hear myself saying. But Torque here, because we don't want to have other types of cards in hand when we play the Dwarven Mercenary. We might save the Great Oak and just live with the 1 damage on the Dwarven Mercenary, because this is a big card that we would like to make sure they don't really have time to answer. Or use something like Cadaverin on. Getting a lot of hand boosting here, though. So yeah, I think we will. Oneiro into Dwarven Mercenary, which is going to take a little bit of damage here. Okay, Arcane Tome. We do not have a special card in our deck right now, so that is going to be a whole lot of nothing for us. Heat Wave. They might have run out of time. I'm pretty sure they just Heat Waved themselves. Once again, you gotta be careful. You just gotta be careful. This will be their last play here, this card, and they have a lot of ground to make up. They were presumably trying to Heat Wave Torque, but that's a price you have to pay if you're using cards tutors like Arcane Tome. That's a lot of animations you have to go through. Okay, they can create a Mahakam Defender with their Coup de Grace, but that's not going to be enough. We don't even need to play our last card, and it was our biggest card at that. They'll forfeit. Alright, so going up against Northern Realms here, and they'll go first. And we have Oneiro, so we'll probably use that to get Saskia Commander, but let's get rid of Roach. And other than that, we'll probably get rid of one of these Dwarf Berserkers. It's not a great card. And we will likely start with Saskia Commander. Rafford's Vengeance will give them some damage, or at least potential for damage. Having an immune Saskia will make that a little bit difficult for them to deal with. So let's do this. And let's go melee bro for the Hawker supports. That's what I'm planning around there. This is not boosted, but we can change that with the Dryad Matron on our next turn, potentially. Either that or Francis Bedlam for the hand boosting. But I think since this does set you up to turn you into an engine, that's probably what we're looking for. Also, I did not realize they played the Heir to Adept, or rather, Heir to Student in their melee row. That is obviously not really something that you want to do. Okay, Sentry and Envoy. That is a bold card to play in this event, but your turns are short. Do the same thing here. Get you boosted up, so you get boosted at the end of the turn. Well, I mean, we'll take it, but that was the plan, was to get you boosted with the Dryad Matron. Suppose I should have seen that. So, now that we have humans on the board, it means... That was also a quick self-perk. But now that we have a human on the board, it means Saskia is not going to summon a human, and therefore this is probably the right time to get Francis Bedlam down. And actually, a Witcher is safe, because we only have 2 Witchers in our deck, and so it's not like we're going to miss out on the opportunity to get Saskia to summon a Witcher if we have our only 2 Witchers in hand. However, elves would like to get an elf to support the movement, but we'll go Witcher first, given how we could actually get an elf summoned here, I think. We still have... Do we only have the Dol Blathanna Sentry in deck? I don't remember. There's a chance we might not have other elves for her to summon. We don't. But we do have an Oakcritters. It's going to be just 2 points from that. Okay, Chapter Wizards. Rune Word into Aretusa Adept, which does have some stuff to boost it. I think we will play you, because we do still have a lot of movement that we can do here. Okay, AA is going to be a decent point slam in all likelihood. Siege Ladder. Oh, yep, to fix. That's interesting. I wonder if they specifically put Siege Ladder in their deck for that purpose, anticipating that they would not be able to get everything placed in exactly the row they wanted to place it in. And now we're going to get this other Cat Witcher down on our next turn, and that would be it, unless... I mean, they did play for decent pace, decent tempo. Point where I'm a little reluctant to go this route, but I think we can still make this work. And we don't want to play Torque in this round, but we can play Dwarf Berserker. It's still not an ideal time to do that, because it's not going to have enough time to use his all of his armor to deal damage. But if they play Shawnee and get more units on the board here, do they have stuff to summon with her? If not, then that feels like that's kind of a waste. But, okay, we'll do it. I don't love it, but we'll do it. Because with this, it is enough for us to take the lead here. Now, we definitely don't want to play Torque. We will still generate points here, even after we pass, so I'm curious to see. They may take the lead after this Alumni, but I think we can still pass them even if we pass right now, because it's 2 damage per Cat Witcher, fair bit of movements, and boost from the movement, so we will win round 1 with card advantage. And not only that, we have a big 13-point Torque hanging out in our hand. Let's get rid of the Dwarven Mercenary. Great Oak, solid, although in a short round doesn't have a lot of time to get boosted up. I'm thinking we might dry pass here and force them to go 2 cards down and give us triple Lassay in round 3, because that's a pretty nice thing to have, pretty nice luxury to have when you're hand-boosting deck and they can't answer your most highly hand-boosted cards. And they do have the resilience from Chapter Wizards that they could have benefited from here, so by dry passing here, we're denying them the additional value from that in round 3 when we're actually trying to play for the win. Okay, and let's get rid of the Dwarven Mercenaries. Get a little more, actually a fair bit more hand boosting. So I think we'll start with our hand boosters with Dunca, Hawker Smuggler, then maybe Dwarf Berserker, then Ithlinne. We should technically, I think, do that on the early side, because it does take some time, and we don't have that many units left. We don't have that many turns remaining to use our leader ability charges here. Since we're going to want to play this next, and it is row locked, and I'm concerned about potentially playing it in the wrong row, let's make sure we play this first, and then we'll go leader ability charges here, even if, technically speaking, I probably would have preferred to have, let's see, can we use our next one here? I'd like to. No. Never gives you the extra round when you want it, and always gives it when you don't want it. But, next is, I guess, Dwarf Berserker. Okay, lose. Card that we would have liked, yes, but sneak you in. Since we don't really care where you get played, be a little more okay about using the ability first. Also, what are we getting with Oneiro? See, Aglais doesn't really matter. It might be that we use it to... Wow. They're making this alumni do some pretty serious work here, for what it's worth. But I think we'll go Ithlinne now on Torque. Give the hand boost to you. It does mean Great Oak... I mean, he is a huge point slam, but without all these units on the board, it's not going to get much additional value, and this is why we wanted to make sure that we had double or triple last A, because we anticipated they would have one way to mess with our big boost here. So I think we will go Dwarven Mercenary. We do have some non-dwarves in hand, so it is going to get damaged a bit, but it is still more valuable than Aglais would be. And so now we go, I guess, Torque. And that is already enough, which means we don't even need to play this last Great Oak. Well, actually, we do. Hold on. You have the bleed, Lids. You do still have the bleed. Don't get too carried away here. Let's make sure we get the win. All right, so going up against Scoia'Tael here, and they'll go first. Okay, and we definitely want to get rid of Knickers, and notably no Aglais here, which we would like to see, but I currently do not. I think if we get rid of the Dwarven Mercenary, ideally we'd get rid of both of them. It's not really a card we want to have in hand, but ideally be summoning that through Saskia, who we also do not have. Okay, well, clearly they're a trap deck. That much we can say with decent confidence. Might we deliberately sacrifice this Dwarven Mercenary? I think that's exactly what we do. Well, I was sacrificing it thinking that it was going to trigger all these traps. And then, not only did it not trigger these traps, knowingly sacrificed it. Is it not active? Well, haha! We forced you into breaking that, at the very least. Okay, now let's go Berserker, because this is another card that theoretically can tank a little bit of damage. Okay, no, it just doesn't trigger if we destroy our own card. Okay, well, fair enough. I guess I, hadn't really resorted to doing that ever before in the past. But when they put two traps on the board like that as quickly as they did, felt like maybe that was worth doing. Okay, now let's shift gears into what we would have initially preferred to have done. That being, focus on some hand boosting here. And we'd like to do that with the Hawker Smuggler as well. And Francis Bedlam, we do have a lot of hand boosting. We just don't have great hand boosting targets right now. Okay, not loving that Dunca's taking damage, but then of course, we do have more hand boosting. And yeah, that's gonna get rid of Dunca. We probably should have just used Dunca's order ability there. So assuming they don't hesitate here, they should have time to use that, but they now need to be quick with their card. Or they did not replay that. Okay. Yeah, Francis Bedlam, or, you know, it's mid-round. It's not a terrible time to play him, but, okay, fortunately, we did counter their trap a little bit by playing a 4 provision cost card, and it is still boosted. So it will still get boosted every turn. They're going to use their lead ability here. Don't have a great target for that, though. And, I think we'll go double Dryad Matron. And while we're at it, let's do a little bit of that. With this deck, since your leader ability does take a lot of time to use, and thank you, Knickers, that was well-timed. It does take a lot of time to use your leader ability. Might be another crushing trap, which makes me a little nervous, because I did want to play this here. You want to make sure that you play a unit, or play whatever card you want first, and then use your leader ability, otherwise you might run out of time. Okay, so I think what we do now is they're probably going to boost adjacent units. I think they're going to win this round, but I think we're going to be okay with that, unless, I mean, we could do this. We could do that. So yeah, I think this is going to give them an extra source of boostage, which is probably going to be enough to overtake us. It's going to be a Cap Witcher, I imagine. I mean, yes, Francis Bedlam is highly boosted as is Torque at this stage, but we'd rather not play them, and actually, with our boost here, well, yeah, no, they're, as anticipated, they have that boost remaining, so yeah, it was not going to be enough. So, as expected, they'll win round 1, but it took them an extra card to do so, and we still have our big carrier from all that hand boosting. Okay, so given how they did play one more card than us, I'm expecting for this to be a dry pass on their part. If not, then we have some pretty serious point slams. I'd like to have a throwaway, and it'd have to be one of these guys, and not really loving that. You're a better throwaway, so I think you're a better throwaway in that you're a worse card. So I think, yep, perfect. That means we will play you for this exact purpose. So that means we'll win round 2. Okay, and finally we get Aglais, so that's great. Let's get rid of Oakcritters, and Oneiro could be into, I suppose, Saskia Commander. That sounds like a plan. We'll put a Cat Witcher back, actually. And now let's go Saskia Commander first. Go melee row, and that means we might get a Cat Witcher here. Dol Blathanna Sentry is the one card that we don't really want in the melee row. I put her in the melee row, Saskia Commander, because I wanted to see Hawker Smuggler show up. Or Cat Witcher wouldn't really matter. But, I think whatever we play is getting destroyed here by this trap. I think we will sacrifice you. It did not get destroyed by that trap. And now we will not get any Witchers from Saskia Commander, but it means we're probably more likely to get another Hawker Smuggler. If we wait a turn before doing this, we do want to play Hand Boosts. Do want to play Hand Boost, though. And we should be doing Leader Building now. Actually, should have probably done that on our previous turn. Nothing for this to damage, for what it's worth. Okay, so we're in the unenviable position of wanting to do Leader Ability first before we play card. This is a huge risk. Don't do this at home. Don't try this at home, kids. Don't try this at home, because then you're going to have to be really quick, be flustered, and scurry to play a card that is row locked in the wrong row, or at least your turn is technically going to end, so it's not going to let you play the card where you want to actually play it. So I think we might just play Aglais here. It's not as highly boosted in Aglais as we would like. We would have, of course, had the potential to get more hand boosts on her if we had gotten Hawker Smuggler in the right row, but prioritize getting all the hand boosts with our leader building instead. I think what we'll do here is we'll go Torque. We are going to row stack, but that is kind of the nature of Great Oak. And we don't think we're going to get anything else summoned from... Well, we won't have any time to get anything else summoned from Saskia Commander. We have a huge lead, which is a good sign, but... they might have an Eldain or something like that to convert some traps. And we will... do, I don't know, something like that. Why in the middle of the row, you ask, Lids? You know, for totally arbitrary reasons of combining boosts and damage. Do have a lot of boosted units in this range row, but unless they have a Yurden, even then I don't think it's enough. So we will definitely still hold on for a convincing win. So there's a look at a Scoia'Tael deck for the new Battle Rush seasonal event. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. And stay tuned Friday for a new card reveal from the new Gwent Black Sun expansion. I'll catch you next time.